Okay, standing out here in the rain because I'm getting ready to do a little cleaning on this tractor. But I got a complaint back here in the back of this tractor. So what it is he got these plugs right here on these auxiliary hydraulic lines, or selective control valves, whatever you want to call them. So they just got these little plugs in here, and when you plug and unplug stuff, these things are hanging down here, and you unplug your hoses and oil runs out of this, probably a couple of ounces on each one every time you unplug it. You don't lose much when you plug them in, but most of the time when you unplug them, you lose a couple of ounces anyway. And you notice all this oil run down the tractor, all down the side. It's make a big mess back here. And the other problem is these things, they hang down here in the dirt and the chaff, and hay gets all over them. And then you get ready to stick them back in there, you got to have a rag. You can't just stick them in, you got to have a rag and clean them off before you put them back in there. And then you get it all over your fingers, and it's just a aggravating mess. And I said something to my dealer about it, and he got on the computer and was looking, and he said, well, they make a kit that you can put on there that has the flip caps. It has hoses, or the flip caps catch the oil. It's got the drain bottles, or the drain or the oil catchers, and then it goes into a hose and it runs to a drain bottle, just like my T5. And so I had him order one, and I'm going to install it today. So first thing I want to do is wash this tractor off, get all the crap off of it so I can work on it without getting so nasty. But anyway, that's what this video is going to be about. Okay, so I got the tractor cleaned up and I took all the plugs off, which is really simple because they fall off half the time. So you got to be careful. You had to be careful not to lose them, or the little ring that went around here, when you pulled it out, they just fall off, and you had to put them back on all the time. That was another issue. But I've got the kit over here, and it's all in this box, and you can't really see what I got here, but here's an image. So you got a bottle, a bracket, hoses, they go up here and connect, and here's the caps that go on. So this is what I got to install. Here's a bracket of some sort, but I got a page here with all the part numbers and what it is. I don't know if any of y'all are interested in this kit. I don't know. Well, I don't know that it comes as a kit or whether they have to order each part individually, but you might can pause that and get those part numbers right there if you want it. So anyway, I'm going to install this kit if the wind don't blow it away. Now, I got to figure out how it goes on there, because you got to mount this bottle, and here's the bracket that holds the bottle, and I have no clue where it goes on the tractor because there's no instructions. All I have is the diagram, and the diagram doesn't show. It shows how the parts go together, but it doesn't show where they go on the tractor. I know where the caps go, obviously, and they just snap on. So I might go ahead and snap those on, and then it looks like the hose goes to the left if the picture's correct, but who knows. So here's the hose. It's already got the T's. I don't have to put the hose system together, so maybe if the hose is the correct length, it'll give me an idea where the bottle goes. So I'll go ahead and put the caps on and plumb the hose and see where the hose reaches to, and maybe that'll give me an idea where the bottle actually bolts to the tractor. Here's a spacer, and one of these bags I had open already. Yeah, here we go. This is a cap right here, and I'll show you more about it when I get it on the tractor. Okay, so I got 2 of the caps here, and there's 2 different ones. You got one with a hose barb, and then you got one without a hose barb, but it has this male fitting, and this one has a female fitting, and they slide together. Well, you got to turn it like this, and they go just like that right there. So the upper one drains into the lower one, and then the hose drains it to the tank, obviously. So they just slip together. It's real simple. Then you put them on the couplers, and they just snap on, and then you open up the caps, and you can snap your hoses in. And then when you're done, you put the caps down. Whole lot better system. Alright, so before I snap that on there, I need to make sure I can get back in there to get that hose on. I may have to put the hose on and then snap them on. So let me get my hoses over here. Need a little bit of lube. Spray a little lube on these next hoses so the other ones so that they can slide in a little easier. You don't have to worry about putting clamps on them because they ain't going to come off. They ain't going to come off very easy. But they got great old big barbs on them, so they ain't coming off. All right. Now I can snap these on. Maybe. Jeez. You get a little rubber mallet. How about plastic? Much better. Oh, looks good. Okay, that's 2 of them on. There's all 3 of them on. Hoses are good. Everything's clearing in there. That's good. Now you got fancy little snap caps that you can open up and plug your hoses in, and it'll drain the oil to the bottle. And I figured out already that the bottle mounts right over here on the on one of the actual bolt that has the reflector on it. I'm gonna have to take that nut off, and then there's a spacer. You put this spacer on to space it out away from the reflector, and then you put that nut back on. They sent me some nuts, but I'm just gonna reuse that lock nut right there, and then you hook this hose into the bottle, and basically that's all there is to it. It's really simple to install, and there is a hose clamp here that goes somewhere. I have to figure out where it goes, if it even really needs it. I mean, you really probably don't even need it, but I'm going to try to put it on there because they sent it. So anyway, I guess, you know, if you got one of these tractors and you got to complain about this, and I know I heard somebody else complain about it, and it is a mess. You need to get one of these kits. It's $180 though. That's the only drawback. It's about $180. So it's not cheap, but I think, to me, it's worth it to not have oil all over everything back here all the time. I'm sure they'll still, there's always some oil back here on a tractor. It's just the way it is, but just oil draining down the back of your tractor all the time is unacceptable. So this right here will take care of most of that. Alright, so this clamp right here, it doesn't really show where that clamp goes, but there's a clamp that goes here that bolts to this bracket that holds this hose going into this bottle, and they didn't send it, so I'm going to use this clamp to go here, and it seems like that's going to work just fine. So I'll show you what I'm talking about on the tractor here. I got the bottle mounted on the tractor, and you can see I put that clamp, it's a double hose clamp. It can hold 2 hoses, but it what it may be for is to go between, let me get you some light in here. It may be to go from that metal line to the rubber line, but I don't really see a need for that. So I'm just going to use it as the clamp down here, and I think that'll work just fine. The only thing I see I'm not real satisfied with is, if you look under the tractor, the bottle is almost basically the lowest thing on the tractor now, and I don't care for that, because if you get hung up in the mud, it's probably going to tear the bottle off. But this is mainly just a hay tractor. I don't plan on getting in deep mud with it, but stuff happens, you know how that is on a farm. If you're feeding with it, you might end up tearing the bottle off. You can put the bottle up on this bolt and the bottle kind of sits up here at an angle. I didn't like how it looked as good, but I think it would have still worked. But I didn't like it. I almost thought about redesigning, making my own bracket here to raise this bottle up, because there's plenty of room right here in this area for the bottle. It needs to be sitting right here behind the axle, and there's plenty of room, but they opted to go with it with this low slung mount here. I mean, I don't know why, but that's what they went with. But I'm going to leave it where I'm going to put it in the factory position for now. If it becomes a problem, I'll make my own bracket and I'll move it up. But I just doing hay, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't think hay will bother it. I don't think hay will get hung on it. So we'll just see what happens. But I think it's going to be all right. Technically, you don't really even need the bottle to catch the oil in. Older tractors just had the hose hanging down here, and it dripped on the ground, which is where it was going eventually. From up here without the caps was on the ground. So, you know, technically, from a farmer standpoint, who cares about the bottle? You know, from an EPA standpoint, yeah, that's what the bottle's for, so you don't drip oil on the ground. But how many thousands or hundreds of thousands of tractors are out there that have no catch bottle, and the oil just goes on the ground anyway? So anyway, if it becomes a major problem and I don't feel like making a bracket, the bottle may just come off and the hose will hang, and there'll be oil just going back on the ground like it was before the bottle. But anyway, there it is. It's all done. The caps are on, the hose is on, this hose, the bottle's on. I got to tighten this one bolt for this clamp, and that's going to be it. Everything will be good to go, and hopefully it won't be near as big of a mess back here on the back of this tractor anymore, because say it's just an aggravating mess without these caps. And see, these things have got a little rubber, they even got a little rubber seal to kind of wipe the fitting off as you pull it out. So that's pretty neat, and I think that's going to be a whole lot better, and it's a whole lot faster just to flip that down, and cleaner. So all right, we'll talk to y'all later. I'll see you in the next video, and hope y'all enjoyed this one. Probably getting ready to change oil in this tractor. It's got about 130 140 hours on it, something like that. Talk to y'all later.